All right, it's 95 degrees here in Bordentown, New Jersey, and I just got a new battery. Let me see if I can show you. That's a interstate battery, marine RV deep cycle battery. Generally, you want to use deep cycle batteries to do any kind of basic electronics. We have a fuse box here that's looks to be from the late 70s. Probably some of the wiring is that old too. I was able to get 3 or 4 of the lights working, but the big thing is the bilge pump, because this whole thing is full of horrible mosquito water. And yeah, I'm gonna try to fire up the bilge pump for the first time, which would be pretty insane if it were to work. This is it here. This is a Jabsco water puppy, and it's pretty old, but and I just put the positive connection into the bilge pump, but let's see. Well, we got something. Oh, jeez. So, yeah, that's pretty soupy right there, but it's not all bad everywhere. So what I've done is started trying out the keel using a heater to dry it out just enough so that I can then apply some wood hardening agents and start testing that out and try to save the keel. We're on to day 2 here of trying to save this keel. Thanks for a great tip from the fine boatsman Billy Concha of getting some sawdust and putting it in the cracks to absorb even more water, making it more fibrous. Now, I did put a little wood hardener on there, even though it was a bit damp. I just wanted to really stop that rot, so I used an antifungal agent, some wood hardener, and now I'm getting the last of the water out with this sawdust. I'll probably vac that up, do one more quick treatment with a heater, and then we're gonna use some professional grade hardener just to make sure this thing is completely stopped rotting. So I've done some vacuuming of the area, and what you can see is that see these bolts, those go all the way down to the keel. This goes to this keel brace that runs up to the forward bow, and here we have what appears as a split bowsprit. That split bowsprit goes to this iron brace. That iron brace goes to, I want to say this is the forward stay. This is the forward stay that holds up the mast. That's also split a bit. It feels very solid, or the forward bow stay is actually looking pretty good. Up top, there's a lot of water damage. I could feel on one side the rot. I would have never been able to figure that out wearing gloves, but I can feel it there. There is some rot. Yeah, that's not good there. That is soaked. I need to shave that down a bit. It has been a couple of months since the boat has been moved to Cape Cod, and as you can see, the keel is almost dry now. It's taken almost a year to get the keel even in the point to where I can start to think about applying epoxy and other wood hardening agents to really start to make this thing a solid piece of wood again. But believe it or not, I do think it's actually going to be savable. There's a couple chunks that got taken out with rot, as you can see there. It's a pretty good chunk, but epoxy should be able to hold it together. As you can see, I have again applied some sawdust to help with some swelling, and We just have a few other small areas of rot, but everything has maintained its shape and it's still pretty solid. I even gave it a shot and tried tightening the keel bolts. I tightened them just a little bit. Felt like that made an effect. Alright, so what you are seeing here is a little bit of a fast forward of some hours of work. It took about 2 days to grind all of the metal and old paint, some fiberglass, whatever material was used to attempt to save this boat the last time. I have ground this completely down. As you can see, lots of old metal, iron, all kinds of chunks. This is going to be a really difficult area to reform. Come around the other side, you can see a bit more of the same. Ground this down pretty much as far as it could go, and I'm about to spray a rust converter on the entire bottom part of the keel. And then I'm going to use some zinc primer to basically stop the rust. So that will buy me some time to figure out how we're going to fiberglass this whole thing. Alright, so we have grounded everything down on the keel that was loose or rusting. It was painted prior with a red, like copper coat, so even though it looks red, it's grounded down as much as it can be. And we're gonna load some West Marine rust converter into a pretty standard paint sprayer. Kind of a dangerous process. Make sure you have enough protection because it's pretty acidic stuff. So we're going to spray this down. Hopefully in about 2 hours we can cover it with a kind of primer so that we can stop the rust. Alright, what we have here is a pretty big hole in the top deck. Really not pleasant to look at. And indeed it is true, once you start tearing up the fiberglass, you definitely start to get a real idea of what is going on. Now, there are about 4 places like this on the top deck, so we're going to see how bad it gets. I think this is probably the worst spot, but we'll start chopping away at it and getting rid of all the rat. Okay, today we're going to do a few things. We're going to hit all the kind of rotted spots on the top deck. We're going to chop it all out, and we're also going to work on galvanizing these keel bolts and braces. So we gotta get some rot out of here.
Alright, so what I'm trying to do today is paint the bottom of the boat. I want to paint the bottom inside deck portion, and I'm going to put a build coat on it. So you can see what I started doing is after I've covered everything with wood hardener, wood filler, epoxy, other kind of drying agents, everything that I've used to save the keel is now going to get painted over with some build coat.
So for the past couple of weeks, I've been using this fairing compound by Total Boat from Jamestown Distributors. I have to say, it's really amazing stuff. It's super easy to work with. It hardens really strong, and it's pliable in a way that's similar to like Play-Doh, and it's really great for hardening, solidifying areas that are otherwise very difficult to get. Certain areas that are kind of like underneath the boat that give it some tensile strength to completely fair the keel. So I'm gonna mix together, it's really simple, it's just a part A, part B compound. There's a resin and a hardener, 1-to-1 ratio, and it mixed so well together. I'm gonna need a lot of this stuff. Finish up everything with the back of the keel. So here we are back at the keel. I've done some initial fairing with the Total Boat fairing compound. That's where all the green is. As you can see, this is an area that needs a lot of work. Back at the keel here. Everything is very strong and stable at this point. I've decided to keep the rudder attached, and I've been able to fair it quite well. It's very strong now, just needs some sanding down. On the starboard side of the keel, it's looking much better, it's much more smooth. Not too much more needed here, but we're gonna focus on the port side. We just need a little more of that compound. Sand it down and it will be looking good.